Hello friends, and welcome to Escaping the Mouse with your host, me, Breck Rowell. Alright, I got a couple little tasks that I need to perform today, and I think that's going to be kind of the subject of our vlog. First thing I want to do is I want to head over to Bed Bath & Beyond. I need a new blender. I'm having problems with blenders. I've gone through 2 blenders in the last about 4 years, and I think the problem is there's too much plastic in the system. Basically a blender, you got the motor unit on the bottom, and then you have the thing with the blade inside of it on the top. And the problem is, if I'm trying to crush ice for like margaritas or something like that, you can't have plastic as the interface between the motor and the blades because the plastic will break. And that's what's happened with 2 different blenders. So I want to run over to Bed Bath & Beyond and maybe someplace else over there and see if I can find a blender that's all metal between the motor and the blades. So let's go to Bed Bath & Beyond. Alright, I'm back from Bed Bath & Beyond. They didn't really have what I was looking for. There was also a Kohl's in the same center, and I looked in there and they didn't really have anything either. The problem I need is I need to look at the blender itself and make sure it's metal all the way from the motor up to the blade. And most of the floor models that they have in these stores aren't actually really blenders. They're like props, and generally it's just designed so you can look at it. It doesn't really give you the means of pulling the top off of it and examining everything. And they kind of frown on you open the packages because the packages are all sealed and they don't want you doing that. So I'm gonna have to do a little bit of research online to figure that out. But we got a couple other things to do today, so let's move on to the next project. Next thing I want to look at is this shower head. This is a shower head that I installed in here a couple years ago when I moved into the house, and there's nothing wrong with it except for the fact that here in Waco we have extremely hard water, and I've got some calcium deposits that have built up inside some of the individual nozzles that have plugged them up completely, or as in the case over here, it's completely redirecting the water in other directions. So I have a bunch of like jets that are going in rogue directions, and I want to get that cleaned up. Now, natural tendency might be just stick something into the holes there and try and wedge loose whatever's in there. But the problem with doing that is you can also damage the inside of the jets. So there's a better way to do that. And let me show you what I'm going to do. Alright, so I've taken the head off and brought it out into the kitchen because what I'm going to do, I don't actually want to do in the bathroom, because I'm going to use a chemical called CLR. CLR is something you can buy at the grocery store. You can buy it at like Home Depot and places like that. Basically what it is, it's a concentrated citric acid, and what it's designed to do is dissolve calcium, lime, and rust deposits. And that's what the CLR stands for. And like I said, I've used this stuff before. It's really good, and basically all you have to do is dilute the stuff out of the bottle. I'm going to use about a 10-to-1 dilution ratio in this little mixing cup here, and I'm going to soak the head in there for, I don't know, 6 or 8 hours, maybe overnight, something like that, and it's going to dissolve all of the calcium deposits that are on this thing, and this thing will be as good as new again. So I'll mix that up and I'll show you how this all works. Alright, so I put about a half a cup or so of the CLR in there, and now I'm just going to dilute it out with water. And like I said, it's going to be about an 8-to-1 dilution ratio. So we're going to put 4 cups of water in there for half a cup of the CLR. I'm actually going to do this in the sink, so if there's any overlap and stuff like that, it just goes down the drain. But basically all I'm going to do is I'm just going to soak this thing in here overnight, and when I come back tomorrow morning, this is going to be just like new. So that completes this part of the project. Let's move on to the next part. Now, while we let the shower head soak in the CLR for a while, I'm going to move on to the next project. It's been a really hot summer this year. It's, for the last month or so, it probably hasn't dropped below 100 degrees once during that whole time. Now, we were hopefully going to get a little relief a couple days ago because there was a storm that blew through here, and it had the potential of dropping some rain. It didn't actually drop any rain here, but it got really close, and when it did, right as the storm was approaching, we ended up with a kind of a windstorm that came through. And this branch, which is probably 14, 15 feet long, came out of the pecan tree in the front yard and was sitting on the lawn when I got home. Now I dragged it over here onto the driveway, and I think today what I want to do is I want to chop this up into little pieces. We'll get rid of, you know, the branches and stuff like that, but the big chunks here I can turn into firewood, which will help keep us warm in the winter this year. So I think that's the next job I'm going to do, is I'm going to chop this thing up a little bit. So a year and a half ago we had a deep freeze that blew through here, and you may recall that it killed one of my trees, and I had to bring that tree down last spring because it was in danger of falling down. And I went out and bought this battery operated chainsaw, and it actually did. I was able to bring that whole tree down with this little chainsaw, so I think this will make quick work of this branch. Alright, a little bit of time has passed. I'm kind of doing this a little bit at a time because it's really hot and it's really miserable out here, so just getting it chopped down a little bit at a time. The big branches are already chopped up and ready to go. I'm kind of putting smaller branches in the wheelbarrow, and that'll probably be used for the potbelly stove in the backyard. And then basically all the leaves are just going to go in the trash. So like I said, we're making progress on this, but I'm taking it a little bit at a time because of the heat. Let's go look at that shower head. Now I pulled the shower head out of that CLR and actually rehooked it up. Already it looks cleaner. You could see kind of the white of the calcium deposits just on the chrome part. So I've had it on. I know this works a lot better now, but you know, you can see now the water's coming out, you know, in a more consistent manner. It's not spraying all over the place. It's kind of interesting. The water pressure has decreased somewhat because I think there was so much calcium deposits built up inside the thing that it was restricting the flow of the water, that the water was coming out with higher pressure. And now that all that is blown out of there, it's coming back to what its normal pressure was. But like I said, this isn't really a commercial for the CLR stuff. It's just, this stuff works really well, and you know, if I can show you something that is a simple fix for a common everyday problem, you know what, we'll do that. So this little part's done. Alright, so we've completed the tearing down of that tree branch that came down. All the leaves ended up in the trash can, and I got a wheelbarrow load of wood. Now most of that is like little kindling that I'll probably use in the potbelly stove in the backyard, but some of those bigger logs will get thrown on the wood pile and they'll be keeping me warm this winter. So I think that's the end of this part of it. I got one more thing I think I want to do today because I'm going to be going back to work pretty quick here, and that is, I think it's time I get a haircut. So I think I'm going to do that, and then we're going to end this video. Alright, I think that's a lot better. I'm definitely ready for the rest of the summer now. So I think that's all that I have for today. Thank you as always for watching, and I'll see you next time on Escaping the Mouse. Good night.